absolutely obvious, right? And I like to do it on consumer cars. Cars that you might drive, cars that your family members might drive, cars that people drive in general. I think a lot of automotive media is just people, Ferrari, Porsche. And especially when I was growing up, there was, in the thousands, there was nothing. Hot Wheels, it was all fast cars. No one really talked about the lame everyday cars that I fell in love with, right, when I was a kid. I wasn't looking at, the Ferrari. I didn't have a poster of the Ferrari on my wall. I had a poster of a four-wheel drive Toyota Tercel, and it's still hanging right next to me. Yeah, so it's very rare that a car gets famous, A, and number two, it's a normal economy car. Like the Fiat 126. Again, when cars go famous, it's because they're weird, wacky, super fast, like the LFA. Cars like that they're just stapled into automotive history, and it's always there, right? You always remember that that's the car that you go to, right? That a lot of people talk about. There's a lot of videos on it. The Fiat 126 is definitely one of those vehicles, and it's very rare to just have a normal utilitarian car be so loved. It's just because it's so affordable and cute and maintainable. And it has a motorcycle engine. What could you want better? Now, of course, we have a modern day equivalent, right? We have the Prius C. We have, the Honda Fit. We have modern day equivalents. And again, tying in the small car shortage, you may have seen that, the small car extinction, rather, as I put it in the video. Just talking about how brands are killing off their small cars in favor of EVs that no one wants. It seems Ford and other bigger car companies are finally realizing their grave mistake. But until everyone does, we're going to be stuck here for a while, and that's okay. So I just tried to find, in foreign markets. Remember, I go to foreign markets a lot to make videos because a lot of times, especially like Americans, we're very picky. We're in the EV fad right now, which means half of all cars going on sale are hot, weird garbage. Not that all those cars are EVs, just they're affected by the weird EV save the world culture. I will say the Prius did kind of have that fan group. A lot of people just look at the Prius like I do as a utilitarian car that gets you from point A to point B more efficiently than the regular car by trading some performance. That's how I look at it. It's not because I'm trying to save the world or anything, right? So I tried to find a Japanese old Fiat 126, and I didn't I didn't really try to because I grew up with this car. In fact, I have a Hot Wheels car of it. What happens when you combine a Honda motorbike with something like this, a cheap utilitarian car? You get, oh, wait, no, oh, wrong video. You get this. This is the Honda City, released in 1981. It was Honda's answer to, consumer normal cars. Now, you may remember we had the Civic, of course, we had the Civic Shuttle. We had different cars like that around this era, with similar ground clearance. But this was a nugget. It is very safe to say. In fact, the very man who coined the term nugget, or at least made it popular, Dank Pods, drives one of these. That it's very not well known, but he actually has one of these. Now, it was also released, I believe, with this motorbike thing that I also thought was very interesting and very retro with the boxy design with, curves. Just very interesting. But we're here to talk about the car. So the first generation began in 1983. Oh, this is the turbo, actually. Fun. So yes, they did have a 1.3 liter Honda City Turbo, which, in a normal car, 1.3 liters, turbo, I mean, that sounds okay. But for a car this light, remember, this isn't, a normal light car would be something like the Toyota Corolla. This thing, the Toyota Corolla is a tank compared to this. This is a shopping cart, right? Any engine in it at all is terrifying. It's one, and I just love it. This is the way cars should be. A lot of people like to state with my opinions that I want to go back in time, savor the good old days. It's not about the good old days, it's just they were genuinely better. It's not because I'm shivering in my boots, shaking, I'm getting calluses because I'm shivering in my boots too much about this new technology. It's because it doesn't work and it is objectively worse. That's why I don't like it. This is just an amazing example of how to get it right. This is the regular City, not the Honda City Turbo. You can tell them apart because this is a normal looking grill. This one had that one. And you can see Turbo right there written on it with the red. The normal one just kind of looked like this. And this is economy cars at its heart. I'm making this video to hopefully remind automakers how to make economy cars. I think they It's like the original Doctor Who episodes that got burned down in that factory. I think they forgot how to build economy cars, so I'm trying to refresh. Here, I'll use Amber Heard's lawyers for this. No, Johnny Depp's lawyers. I'm gonna refresh their recollection. So yeah, essentially, the Honda City was just this little nugget. Now you may think that I'm just going to parade around talking, constantly about this little nugget and like 4 or 5 pictures. Well, you get bored to death, but I actually have the entire model year generation, which is still being sold today in foreign markets. Now, I don't think the Honda City was ever sold in America. I don't believe we were ever graced with the city as we had. If you wanted something like this, the trope that Americans like bigger cars is like more of a, people think of it as a modern thing. Actually, not true. In foreign markets such as India, they really prefer smaller cars. It's not a trope of today, it's always been that way. So, if you wanted a small little hatchback in, let's say, India or Australia, you got the Honda City. If you wanted a hatchback in the US, you got the Honda Civic Shuttle, which was a 4-door wagon. Americans just like bigger cars. That's why we are adapting to EVs, and yet India and other countries with lots of people that have smaller cars really aren't, just because gasoline cars are more efficient. So, yeah, amazing little car. Let's move on up to the generation. This was where it got weird. This is where it started to look more like a Civic. I find it fun. The Honda City has always looked like a little mini Civic. I mean, you can see it right now. You've at least seen one of those 80s little Civics as like a pizza delivery truck, or, this looks like a kidnapper van, but just like, this looks like the kidnapper van stops and then the doors fling open at the back and then this rolls out and chases you down on the sidewalk. Oh, that's a horror movie. See, I am good at this. The Honda City has always been kind of affected by the Civic, as you would believe. The city has always been affected by the Civic. So we can see, in 1986, it kind of took this civic-y turn, I would say. By 1994, it looked more like this. Now, yeah, you can see the influence there. One thing that I actually find interesting is this clear little bit there. Now, to the average car person, this may just seem like a little blip, right? Like it doesn't really matter. This, I believe, was a throw-off to the 2008 foreign Honda Civic with that little silver bit there. Remember, look it up if you don't. The UK did an entire bunch of things on the Civic Type R in foreign markets. That was definitely a throwback to that little clear section. So again, I remember, again, one of my family vehicles was the Honda Odyssey, yet I like Toyota. That was awkward for a while there. We had 2 Honda Odysseys, 90s one, which we bought brand new, and then a 1000s one, which we also bought brand new. We like Honda Odysseys, right? We had both of them up until like 2 years ago. So I remember they also had this in the taillights, just one unit taillight. This one has it in the front. So again, it's not like it's a one-off Honda model, like it's not part of the lineup or anything. This was definitely made to fit in with the Honda lineup. It was just amazingly small. So, of course, Honda decided to change it and make it a little bigger, as Honda usually does. And in 1997, we got this, which is kind of like sorry, I meant 1987 before. This is the 1997. This one is so interesting because the more you look at it, the weirder it looks. So you may just look at this and then think, oh, that looks normal. The more you look at it, the more it looks like a mini Volvo S40 before the Volvo S40 even came out. So it looks like a Volvo just because of that taillight shape. You'll notice it has like that 90s boxiness up front, like the Toyota Corollas and Camrys of the time. But it also has the thousands gloopiness to it. The Honda City was way ahead of its time with this, way ahead of its time with the styling, right? We saw this bloopy, design where it's like boxy but bloopy in like the late 2010s, early thousands. This had this design in 1997, which was definitely fun to see. We also have that, again, that 90s strict back, so it looks like a 90s car and thousands car up here. This again, just amazing. This tiny little car, you can just find so many interesting things with it. Referring to the Civic. I remember our Odyssey had those exact same wheels, but with 5 lug nuts, which is superior. But again, this is a cheap, normal, everyday person's car. And if you look at the interior, you will soon find it looks a whole lot like a Civic. This was kind of a turning point for Honda. They could either continue and make it into a Civic or go back to the older hatchback design. They chose just kind of do both, This is weird. Oh wait, this is the second gen. Yeah. So this looks so weird because this is what happens when a company tries to do a facelift, but they don't do it right. It's still got that 90s back to it. Remember how in the previous one it had a 90s back and a thousands front? Now it has a thousands back and a 2010s front. It just can't. Neither side of this car can stay the same for more than 10 minutes without the earth ending. Very fun Honda design throwback there. Our next jump will be 2008. Again, this is the facelifted version. I don't know why it looks so weird. Like, it doesn't look like, I get it. You have more headroom. It's a short car. If you were to do one of those long drawn out things, it'd look more like a hatchback. But this is just so abrupt. I'm guessing because, like, for the 90s, they had stiffer C pillars. It was designed in the 90s to be like that, and then in the thousands, they cheaped out and didn't, decide to redesign it all that much. One thing that I did notice that was kind of interesting, again, it fits into the lineup pretty well here. You see this design where it's like chunk there and then swoops up. That actually reminds me of the Civic, which swooped down. So, very interesting. This one, I feel like, for some reason, even though this one's swooping down, it should look like it's crying. It actually looks very happy with the yee face. This one looks more sad. It looks more angry. This is around the time that every single car company couldn't accept that they were an economy car company. So they just decided to make all their cars look super aggressive, and then everyone bought them for some reason. Anyway, yeah, fun. So 2010, again, we're moving on to the Honda City. They have finally fixed the weird B pillar situation and finally smoothed it out a little bit. This just shows how foreign this car is to, American people. If you show them this back end, they're like, what is that? It has the taillights of like a Subaru Impreza with the shape of like some infinity thing and then like a neat overall Nissan style. Just a very weird car. You don't see Honda design cars like this anymore like that. One thing that I do find interesting is this shape. Just overall a very interesting shape here. This reminds me of the Cross Tour. Again, fits into the model very nicely. Cheap economy car. You may have noticed during the entire time the car has not gotten that much bigger. I mean, it's gotten bigger. That's just the natural progression of things. But it's not like the cars we're seeing today where the Civic is the size of a land yacht and the Corolla is practically its own, Freightliner compared to its 90s counterparts. This car has stayed pretty much the same, just a cheap economy car. We can see the interior is no different. And you have an armrest here. I know it's a package on the Mitsubishi Mirage. Why? Come on, I get it. It's a cheap car. Come on, you can do that. Come on, Honda. Congratulations, the first economy car to actually have an armrest. Good job for you. So, 2019, we got this, which is so fun. I mean, look at it. You can't tell me that you don't see that. It's like that Little Tykes car. You know when you see like a Little Tykes G-Wagon and you're like, oh, that's so cute. This is that. This is like, yeah, you see the styling there, but this is just like, I'm saying like so much because I'm an American. I'm in uncharted territory. It just looks so much like a 2019 Civic, especially with that redesign. And again, these wheels being so small with stubby little tires than the previous generation, the car's getting bigger, wheels are staying the same. That just makes it look the more clownish with this like weird swoopy, I don't want to talk to you, you're not my dad, type taillights. We have those on the Civic now. Back then we had whatever the hell that's supposed to be. Overall, a very nice car, fits in the lineup, and come on, for an economy car, you can't tell me that is not bad. It's perfect, right? You have your econ button, everything you might need, a little screen there. This is how I think screens should be integrated. You have a small screen for your radio controls, all that happy horse crap, right? You have a little like dot matrix screen to tell your readings, temperature, fuel, everything like that, and then what gear you're in. And then you just have a tiny little like segment display down here just to tell you what temperature it is. That's the way, in my opinion, God has intended it to be, and again, I'm not scared of new technology. I do know that eventually a new type of car will come over. I'm not scared about that. I'm just saying, number one, the technology isn't ready for how much they're pushing it, right? You would think that EVs are 100% down, 100% finished, they can hit the floors today. No, the technology is being advanced more and more every single day, and an EV from 2015 is wildly different from the ones that we have now. And yet they're marketing them as the best it'll ever be, Ugh. I just think they need, first of all, EVs aren't the answer. Second of all, hydrogen. Third of all, why are we still doing EVs? This car embodies utilitarianism, right? In the modern day. Tell me, you are looking for a like $9,000 car. It's 2024 and you want to buy something new, something, nice and used that's new enough where it's not going to break, but also old enough where it's not going to completely suck. Honda City. I mean, these go for pretty cheap and the interior isn't bad. They're overall very nice cars. Moving on, of course, we have the 2024 one, which, of course, going with the theme here, looks like a mini Civic again. Overall, just very nice cars. We can see this time the Civic got that like Una thing. This one didn't. It got more of a trucky style, which is what I don't really get. I think they just couldn't fit that in there. Again, it has the same climate control, similar styling. They still make this in foreign markets, and this little screen, I love it. I've never used it because remember, not sold in America. I'm not importing one of these just to talk about the screen, but the screen in front of the gauges. Yeah. So moving on, right? 2024 Honda Civic looks a lot like that. We've established that. Now, this is the 2024 version. Oh, moving the computer. This is the 2024 version sold in India. I've got India and the Philippines pulled up. Again, we can see just so cheap. I mean, look at that. Come on. Imagine if we had a car that cheap in the US. That was this good. Again, you can have your Kia Rios, your Mitsubishi Mirages. They're all just cheap pieces of crap. Not built that well. They're reliable, but not built that well. You know what the difference is? Like, let's say I buy a brand new Lexus and a brand new Mitsubishi Mirage. The Mitsubishi Mirage is going to last a very long time, right? We obviously know that it's an acceptably reliable car. But the interior is going to start creaking. The fabric seats are going to start wasting away. That's just what happens. They're just built cheaper. I also like it how they have like the gradient there. That's so cool. I totally want that purple. That purple. That'd be the coolest thing. What if we go... Ooh, fun. I really like how they do that. That's really classy. What if we go from gray to blue? Ooh, perfect. Yeah, so again, we can see just a nice interior sunshade in the rear, which is very common in foreign markets. It's like a luxury car thing. They want it to look more like a luxury car. This car slaps. This is modern, cheap transportation. It's perfect. I would totally buy this. If this was in the US, I would buy this car brand new right now. 100%. It is worth the price. And they have an HEV, hybrid electric vehicle, which if you don't know, it's essentially just a Prius. This is where hybrids, I think, really shine. These cheap vehicles, just because they work so well. Of course, you can see, like, a lot of people don't understand. They look at cars like the Mitsubishi Mirage, touting that it has fuel injection, port fuel injection, stuff like that. So, frivolously, they're like, oh, we had that technology years ago. Hybrids are only starting to be popular in the small consumer car market. You, with your, Sigma brain, may have the latest technology. A lot of people don't, so this is still very much interesting. EV drive, casual city driving. City. You can just see it here, lithium-ion battery, traction motor to the wheels. Engine is stopped, which, it's just showing you the flow of energy. Of course, you have to have some weird thing in there talking about advanced technology. Beep, beep, beep. We'll stop your car and pull you off the road. Just perfect. India's first car to be connected with Alexa remote capability. I see those all the time. When you see features like that, don't really worry about it. It's just cheaper car brands trying to seem like they have something. Again, perfect screen, small screen, not sticking up, perfectly fit in. Your tiny little windshield wiper is so small. Such a big, long, like, sturdy steel, like, for the tiny little wiper. That's even worse than the Ford Bronco. All power windows up and down, pinch protection, head seats. I will say those seats look more comfortable than any Toyota seats I've ever sat in. Of course, you have your lights there. I'm sure they're very uncomfortable. And then look, even a digital gauge cluster. Look at you. Overall, just a very nice vehicle. Again, this is what consumer cars, average cars should be. Just perfect. And on top of that, it's safe enough is what I would describe it. No, Thailand. This is Thailand. So I've got the Thailand city pulled up here. Ooh, fun. Yeah. Again, just so cool. Such an awesome car. We need this in America. A lot of people are saying it won't sell. You underestimate what I like to call people who need cars. This will 100% sell in the US. People, no matter what you say, the technology doesn't matter. I don't care what year it is. The technology doesn't matter. I don't care what year it is. I don't care what planet we're on. People always need affordable, cheap transportation. That's it. Just a very nice, easy car, especially with the hybrid electric vehicle crap. Just overall very nice. And again, reminder, the smallest car you can get Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to make a video on that at one point. The smallest Honda you can get at all anymore is either the Civic, which, like I said, is essentially a land yacht, or maybe a HRV, which is only $1,000 more than the Civic, definitely bigger. No, actually shorter. Wow. I never thought I'd see SUVs on the average be smaller than the average sedan. Sad days we're living in. Now, if you're looking for the Toyota alternative, the Honda City has been around, like I said, for a good long time. Toyota in foreign markets with their small cars like to dabble around a bit. Like they'll come out with the Pixis E-Poch or something like the Echo or Yaris or something, and then that'll stay for about 10 years, and then they'll replace it with something else, like the Rumi. That's just kind of what happens right now. We're on the Pixis epoch. Yeah, there's not much really else to say. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. This was a fun video to make. Sorry it's coming out so late, but I am really tired.